everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Bianconi. If you would go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel below, that would be greatly appreciated. If you could also hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new content, that would be appreciated also. So, I recently started my Lost Classic series back again with a couple of LA Guns episodes. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and do a Lost Classic kind of slash unboxing, even though this really isn't in a box right now. But it's an album I just recently picked up, or at least a vinyl I just recently picked up. It matches the shirt that I have on here, and that would be the Music on Vinyl reissue of Living Colour's Stain. It's their third record. It was released on March 2nd of 1993. It came out on the Epic label. It was produced by Ron St. Germain and Living Colour. It reached as high as number 26 in the Billboard charts, and unfortunately it did not reach gold or platinum status. And this is the first album with their new bass player at the time, who's still with them to this day, Doug Wimbush. And I didn't know this until I actually went to the Living Colour concert where I got the shirt several months ago, that he was involved with like the band that did all like the Sugar Hill Gang recordings and stuff. Like he's all on like the Message and the Grandmaster Flash records and all that stuff in those early days. So yeah, really cool dude, really cool history. And yeah, it was really cool to find that out. So, but yeah, he joined Living Colour for this album, and he's still there to this day. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So again, this is the Music on Vinyl version. So instead of cellophane, they put it in like one of these like protective sleeves here with the flap and everything on it. I'm not a big fan of these. Now I know they probably protect your record better than anything else. However, I don't like them because I don't really like the sticky thing on the back, and sometimes it sticks to the record, and you know, I'm just not a big fan of it. But anyway. But I appreciate their effort here in putting it in here. And so, let's go ahead and see if we can open this thing up. All right, and then we'll pull it out of there. And yeah, so yeah, here we go. Living Colour Stain, front cover, with no cellophane or no cover or sleeve or anything like that. And then there is the back cover. All right, and like I said, this is the Music on Vinyl reissue. So let's go ahead and see what we have inside. All right, so let me just put this here. And hope it stays. All right, so the first thing we have is an insert that on one side looks like it has just some pictures of the band. Then if you flip it over, it has another picture of the band, as well as, I don't see any lyrics, so it looks like just liner notes. Just track listing and liner notes and all that, but still pretty cool. You know, some reissues I've gotten from some, like Friday Music and all that, you know, they don't have like any of like the inserts or anything in it. It's kind of weird. So I'm glad that does. So let's see, nice protective anti-static sleeve here. And if we pull the record out, we have 180 gram, very heavy and very pretty black vinyl. It's just got a standard Epic label in the middle. Nothing too flashy or special there. You know, I do like how they kind of try to keep these authentic. And even though it's a reissue under a kind of a different label or licensed to a different label, they still try to keep a lot of that stuff authentic, which I think is neat. So yeah, so there you go. Everything that comes inside this reissue of Living Colour Stain. So yeah, so the reviews on this album when it initially came out were mixed. I guess people just didn't really like change. They just wanted, you know, kind of fun and peppy Living Colour and all that, like they were on the first two records. Which, I mean, yeah, musically they were, but I mean, they tackled some serious subjects on this first couple records. So no different here. It's just the music is a little darker, a little more intense, and I think between Time's Up and this album, you know, things had shifted to, you know, like from like the more arena rock style of the 80s to grunge. So I think Living Colour, even though they weren't really arena rock per se, just took, you know, full advantage of being able to be a little bit darker on this record. Some of the best songs, I mean, obviously the singles, Go Away, Ignorance is Bliss, Leave It Alone, I mean, just amazing. They started the show that I just saw recently. They started with Leave It Alone, and that was pretty cool. But Nothingness is another cool song. And then one of my favorite songs on this album is a song called Bye. You know, Everybody Loves You When You're Bye. You know, and I remember at the time, I think I was 16, 17 maybe, when this album came out, you know, and I heard that song, and, you know, I wasn't really ready for all that at the time, you know, like just as far as the subject matter, it's nothing I'd really ever had to focus too much time on. But I always loved the song. It was really catchy, you know, and of course the message it has, you know, is pretty strong, you know, even fits right into, you know, what's going on today. So a really cool song. on here, but I mean, just a really cool album. It's heavier, it's more intense, but it's also a little less. I don't know if dense is the word. Like, there's definitely like a very wall of sound quality to their first couple of records, and I feel like this one is a little more stripped down and a little more raw, and a little more funky, if that makes sense. Now, and I remember, just tell a little story. Like, I remember, like, when I had this album in '93, but I remember getting a cassette tape. This record store I used to go to, he had like, it was already used, but it was a promo copy of the tape. Didn't even have the cover or anything like that. It was just like a little generic cover that the record label used. And I got it, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 weeks before before the record actually was released. So that was kind of a cool thing to have an album before it was released and all. So, but I'm stoked to have this. I remember seeing, I don't think it was the musical and vinyl version. I think it was just, a general Epic reissue or whatever. I remember seeing this at FYE at the mall for like $20. This was like 5-6 years ago. And I remember not wanting to buy it because I was like, well, I need to have Vivid first, like, I don't know why that really mattered, but for whatever reason, I didn't buy it then because I didn't have Vivid. And then, years later, I have Vivid, a reissue of Vivid. I have an original issue of Time's Up, and I'm like, I want to get this album, and I can't find it anywhere. And I see that other version going on eBay for like $300 or $400. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll never have this record. And then this just popped up, on Amazon. So I took advantage of it, ordered it. Haven't listened to it yet. So I'm pretty stoked to get this on the turntable. Obviously I love this album because I've got the shirt and everything. But yeah, this was the last Living Colour album until 2003's Kaleidoscope. So they took a decade-long hiatus, as a band until, at least, I don't know if they fully broke up, but at least they took a hiatus from recording. So yeah, last Living Colour album we would get for at least a decade. So check it out. If you like Vivid and you like Time's Up, it's the same band. Obviously there's a lot of similarities. It's not like they reinvented the wheel, but it is a little bit different from those albums. But that doesn't mean that it's not just as good as those albums. So, don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to like the Rolling Stones of the world. This is actually a really killer album. Pick it up on vinyl. Pick it up on digital. However you do. Just check it out and, listen with your ears and not your eyes or your preconceived notions of what they should be or whatnot. So anyway, that's all I've got for you this time. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new content. I've got the rest of my inside the vinyl. The rest of my Lost Classics series where we discuss albums like this that I feel kind of got lost in the shuffle and should be heard. Lost Classics, live albums. I've also got my unboxing series where we open up, again, in cases like this, reissues, new albums, box sets, whatever. Sometimes they're CDs, sometimes they're records. It just depends on what's coming out. I've got some live footage of some concerts and festivals from the last several years. I've got some mediocre disc golf coverage starring some mediocre players like myself. And I think the thing I'm most proud of on my page now, or on my, whatever it's called, my channel now, are a couple of very short documentary style films that I did for school. One is a profile of a local disc golfer, amateur disc golfer, and the other one is a documentary I put together about the fire that burned down our other house, and everything that happened with the fire, after the fire, and all the progress that was being made and getting it rebuilt up to the time that I did it, which was towards the end of 2023. So hopefully sometime in early 2025 we'll be back in there and I'll be back in my normal place, but this is fine for now. But yeah, I'm very proud of those, so check those out. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.